Welcome to Everything Psychology. It has been 11 years since you tripped, or laughed at the wrong moment, or sent that text to the wrong person. The event itself lasted 4 seconds. Your brain has replayed it approximately 4,000 times since, usually in the quiet moments before sleep. You might struggle to recall what you ate for lunch yesterday, yet you can remember the exact pitch of your voice cracking in the 9th grade with jarring clarity. This persistent recall is often misinterpreted as a flaw in memory or a sign of being broken. In reality, this is your nervous system working exactly as it was designed to. Your brain classifies social humiliation as a survival threat, placing it in the same category as immediate physical danger. To find where social pain resides, we look at the brain. This is the anterior cingulate cortex, which processes physical pain. fMRI scans show social humiliation activates this identical circuitry. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between physical and social injury. Both use overlapping pain networks. This means when you cringe at an old memory, your brain is reacting to a perceived injury happening in real time. This aggressive response is a relic of human evolution. For the vast majority of our history, survival was tied to group acceptance. Humans could not survive alone on the savannah. In that context, banishment from the tribe was a death sentence. Evolution shaped the brain to treat social standing as a survival resource, as critical as food or water. Because isolation meant death, the modern brain treats a flushed face in a meeting with the same urgency as a mortal wound. The process of archiving these threats falls to your brain's emotional alarm system, the amygdala. The amygdala is constantly monitoring your environment for high-stakes survival threats. When you experience high levels of shame, the amygdala stamps the moment with neurochemical urgency. It tags the event as critical data that must be remembered to avoid future danger. This creates flashbulb memories, vivid, high-resolution, and instantly retrievable recollections that resist the natural fading most memories undergo. While your brain discards low-stakes information to conserve resources, these shame-encoded files remain permanently accessible. That decade-old cringe is a perfectly preserved backup file, kept on hand to ensure you never repeat a perceived threat to your social survival. These memories are often distorted by a persistent psychological illusion. The spotlight effect is the convincing assumption that everyone present noticed, remembered, and judged your mistake as harshly as you judge yourself. Research on this effect shows a massive gap between perception and reality. We consistently overestimate how much others notice our mistakes, often by a factor of 2 or more. Most people are too occupied with their own self-monitoring to register, let alone remember, your perceived failures. You can test this by trying to recall the embarrassing moments of your peers with the same clarity you have for your own. Most of those files simply don't exist. You are reacting to what an anxious brain insisted was happening in the moment, rather than the reality of the event. While fear often fades once a danger has passed, shame persists because of how it is encoded. Shame is processed as a threat to identity, to who you are, rather than a discrete event. This weaves it into your sense of self. These identity threats typically resurface during quiet, unoccupied moments, such as when you are trying to fall asleep. This timing is linked to the default mode network, which activates when you are not focused on an external task. When the mind drifts, this network gravitates toward unresolved emotional material that was never fully processed or released. These intrusive thoughts represent your brain's automatic attempt to resolve a survival threat it still considers an open file. Resolving this loop requires acknowledging that your primitive threat detection system is miscalibrated for modern social life. Flinching away from these memories reinforces the brain's belief that the threat is still live and dangerous. A more effective approach is to briefly acknowledge the memory, accepting that it happened and that you survived it. This signals to the amygdala that the threat is resolved. This process requires targeted self-compassion, which is distinct from general positivity. Clinical research suggests that speaking to yourself with the same grace you would offer a friend can measurably reduce the emotional charge of these shame memories. The lingering cringe is not a character flaw. It is an ancient protective system doing its job too well, long after the perceived danger has passed. Understanding the neurological function of embarrassment allows the memory to lose its power. It shifts from a present threat to an outdated alarm. If this helped you understand your own cringe reel, Share it with someone else who struggles with these flashes. Subscribe to Everything Psychology and tell me in the comments which memory still gets you. Sometimes verbalizing it is the first step to letting it go.